Good evening and welcome to the Monday, December 16th meeting of the Bella Vista City Council. Will you rise, please, and join us for Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Wayne.
We'll do the roll call of council. Councilmember Wozniak.
Here.
Lloyd.
Here.
Flynn.
Here.
Burke.
Here.
Wilms.
Here.
All present.
Thank you.
Fowler is out of town, I'm sorry. Vacation.
I gather there's no citizen input, Wayne?
Nope.
Okay. So I'm also assuming there's no council reply. We'll move into the approval of the minutes. We have two sets to approve. The first is November the 18th. Are there any errors or omissions?
I would ask the council's indulgence in the clerk about changing the one paragraph on Councilman Wilms' report to be more specific about a couple of items in there. You have before you a copy of the proposed additions or changes in the wording for that paragraph. It's on page 2.
Right. I have those, and I failed to put them in your packet, but they are part of the minutes at City Hall.
The attachment is that the paragraph here was to replace the paragraph in the minutes.
Okay.
So
you have two proposed amendments?
One is for
One is
12
and one is for December 2nd, which is, I didn't correct the date. The second part,
the second one is,
December 2nd.
okay, not 11/18th, okay.
Copy and paste is sometimes still reread.
Okay. Wayne, the electronic version, however, does have everything?
Yes.
Okay.
But except
Yes,
we'll
it has.
there's a small wording change here in one paragraph in the minutes.
Okay.
So, request for the council to
Right.
consider, I'm not faulting Wayne's minutes, but there was a couple of important points that I thought needed to be summarized in the recorded version of the minutes, even though there's an attachment that will be added in the final file to clarify a couple of particular points that were made.
Okay, is there any discussion? Would you be willing then to make a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
I would make that motion, yes.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? Wayne?
Okay, roll call vote. Councilmember Wilms.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Lloyd.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Carried.
Okay, the second set of minutes is the special meeting we had in early December on the 3rd. And again, Councilmember Wilms has a proposed change. Does anybody want to address it at all? Larry, would you?
I would. The first sentence, to clarify, it refers back without being very particular about the reference. And so I'd like it to reference that November 18th meeting.
Okay.
So there are a few words that change in that first sentence. The rest of the paragraph remains the same as I'm suggesting.
Okay.
Not faulting the clerk, but thinking that for clarification, someone in the future going back, digging, it would make it easier for them.
Counselor?
My question is this: on the second change, it says revision to the 11/18/19 minutes. They both say that.
Yeah, but
Right.
it should
It's a
say
typo.
12.
It should say 12 too.
They should say 12. Okay.
It should say
All right.
12 too.
Okay.
Copy and paste, you don't always catch your errors.
All right.
I apologize.
So would you make a
Make
motion?
a motion to approve the December 2nd minutes with the minor change in the one sentence in the paragraph mentioned.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Wayne?
Okay. Councilmember Lloyd.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Burke.
Yes.
Wilms.
Yes?
Wozniak.
Yes.
Carried 5-0.
Thank you. We do have the October financial reports available here this evening. For those of you at home, they'll be available at City Hall, and we will also have them on the website. we continue to be very healthy financially. Moving into the resolutions for the evening, the first is approving the mayor's reappointment of Manuel Wade Hagan for a 3-year term in position 1 of the Bella Vista Board of Construction Appeals, commencing January the 1st, 2020. Is there any discussion at all? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Flynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Wilms,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
carried 5-0.
Thank you. The next resolution authorizing budgetary funding transfers between departments and the 2019 annual city budget. For those of you at home, this is a piece of legislation that we bring to the table every year as we get close to the end of the year, and we will begin closing the books. In the event that the finance director needs to move money from one department to the other for balancing purposes, this gives her the ability to do so. I will tell you that we have never used it in the last 3 years, and that's thanks to good budgeting by the department heads, but still, just to be safe so we don't have to have a special meeting of council, this gives us the ability to do it so we can close the books in a timely manner. Is there any discussion at all?
I guess one question that bothers me is that it's kind of a carte blanche approval here, and I don't have a serious problem with that. But will we know in the final report as to what monies may have been moved to what accounts as a final conclusion to know what we actually approved here?
Yes, once the books are closed, and if there are any movements between any of the departments, then I will be back and I have to report it back to you.
Mayor Christie, also to that point, could there be some cap on the amount of the transfer? And I appreciate it's never been used and unlikely to be used, but nonetheless, a good idea sometimes to have some kind of limitation before it would require bringing back to the city council.
Well, there is a cap in it, but it's not, it's just a total budgetary cap, so it's not a transfer cap. In other words, the entire total city budget does not increase.
Right.
So in other words, if we really need another $2,000 over here
Right.
in finance, and we can just take it from fire or something and do that.
Understood.
So the cap has always been just the total city budget does not increase.
Sure, it's all going to net out in the
But
end.
you could have an amount cap.
That was my point, really. Just for I think good practice that if it's a $2,000 transfer, probably doesn't need city council approval. But if it's a $200,000 transfer, perhaps it should have. So, perhaps I should kind of process a little bit into an amendment to the resolution, a motion to amend the resolution that the cap of the transfers between departments would not exceed $10,000.
Mayor, all amendments have to be in writing to be in order.
Okay. What I would suggest is, because we're down to the 11th hour, is if we pass this resolution the way it is, as we have in the past, knowing that I have to come back and explain to you what has been moved, I would highly recommend that you sit down with Carrie, perhaps as part of the process, so you can see what it looks like, and then next year we could put in something.
Fair
with
enough.
you.
So long as going forward we can
Sure.
all kind of agree that that's probably a best practice, that there would be some form of cap on it. Don't have to hold up this year to do that, but
Okay, fair ball.
fair
okay.
enough. All right.
Thanks for the comment.
Yes, sir.
Anybody?
There's
Yes, sir.
an outstanding motion, or Mayor, are you ruling that motion out of order at this moment? Because it was not in writing?
Yes, no, we're not going to do it this year.
Are you withdrawing
Drawing.
the motion?
Well, if the motion's out of order, I don't know if that I
He
need.
did not withdraw it, so Mayor, if I'm advising you that would be out of order, you have to make that ruling from the chair.
Okay, so it's out of order, so we're
Fair
going
enough.
to carry on. Thank you. Okay, if there's no other discussion, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Any further discussion? Wayne?
Excuse me. Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Wilms,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
Carried, 5-0.
Thank you. The next resolution is amending the 2019 city budget to recognize $2,208,611 in grant revenue from the Walton Family Foundation related to the Mercy Way Blowing Springs Greenway project or projects. We have been advised that the Walton Family Foundation will be giving us a total grant of $4.98 million. 1.3 will close the gap that we needed in order to complete the $6.1 million widening of Mercy Way plus the bridge plus putting a bike trail over it. And the balance is for the Greenway project, which will take the Razorback Greenway from Blowing Springs up along Houston over to Commonwealth and tuck into Metfield. So what they have done is given us phase 1 of $2.2 million, and of that, $96,000 is for the bridge for construction administration, because the balance is really for construction of the bridge itself, and that won't happen probably until late 2020, Doug, early 21, the way it looks now. So they'll give us that money in due course. The other $2.1 million is for the Greenway, and I believe that's under design and consideration right now as well, Doug? That's correct. Okay. Are there any questions at all? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Wayne?
Okay. Councilmember Wozniak,
Yes.
Wilms,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
carried, 5-0.
Thank you. The next resolution, adopting a city budget for the city of Bella Vista for the calendar year 2020, appropriating money for each item of expenditure and for other purposes. There is a copy of the budget on the tables back here, and again, for those at home, it'll be available at City Hall. This particular copy actually has side notes in it so that you can see what the highlights are as you go through it. I would like to thank all the department heads who played a crucial role in this. As always, every year we start about late August, early September, so it's a long process, but it's a good process, and I believe we have a fair budget with a minimal increase, and we still are able to keep our 25% threshold for capital. At the last meeting, there were $174,000 that had been set aside for a truck wash, car wash up at the streets department, because we're afraid that ADEQ is going to pull the current permit allowing us to do it outside. We have put that back in the budget because we have a more pressing need, which I don't think it's going to be $174,000. But as a result of the tragedy in Fayetteville, we are actually going to be fencing off, as I mentioned, the whole police area and the fire area to provide much better security. And we will also move forward with a much smaller project, and that's to tighten up the front end of City Hall as well. It needs just a little bit more security to be good. The only thing that I can see on the horizon as of the moment is we recently reviewed all the bills for the library and noticed a spike in electrical bills. We suspect that part of it is because of an increased use of electricity for warmth, but also that the contractors are using our electricity to be able to do the build, and apparently that is the norm. So there may be a bit of a spike in electricity for the coming months. We're going to monitor it. At this point, we think that we can absorb it within the budget. If that is not the case, then we will come back and we'll ask for a budget amendment. But that's the only thing on the horizon that I can see right now. Are there any questions at all?
Yes, one question about the vehicle wash unit at the street department. That doesn't show up in this budget packet as a capital expenditure for streets on the list that's shown here, unless I'm misreading something.
Right. As I mentioned earlier in my comments, we took that out because we have more pressing needs. If we can do it later, so be it, then we'll bring it back to you.
It's not necessarily in there, but if there's monies as the year progresses.
Correct, then we'll
they-
come back and ask for it, but there's more pressing things to do at the short term, Larry. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
Relates to community development. Looking at code officer truck, and I guess the question is, what kind of vehicle is that? Is it a full-size? Is it a mid-size? Is it a crew cab four-door, or is it a two-door extended cab vehicle? And the question is, justification for whatever's being proposed.
Doug?
It's a full-size crew cab, Dodge, four-wheel drive with graphics, flashers, extra lights. That was the reason for the additional funds.
So is it necessary that the code officer have a crew cab vehicle, normally traveling alone or with maybe another co-worker?
It is, they carry a lot of equipment, and sometimes they do travel together, depending on where they're going and what they're addressing. But they do carry a lot of extra safety equipment in the back seat of the crew cab. And a lot of the areas in town that are unpaved, sometimes they get off-road and need the four-wheel.
So Doug, you were a code officer in Little Rock. Is this consistent with the vehicles that you might have had down there as well? Okay.
And part of my question was whether they needed a full-size or a mid-size to serve the purpose, since most of the occupancy is going to be the driver and there may be a passenger in the front, but normally not in the second seat. So would a mid-size vehicle, and I'm not sure what the Dodge correlation is, but it's a Ford Ranger in the Ford series, Colorado maybe in the Chevy series. I don't know what the Dodge is, if that's what you're looking at. And would that be suitable, and would it cost less money?
I'd have to check the pricing on that. The rest of the fleet is the full-size crew cab. It's not the extra large back seat, it's just the normal back seat.
Well, it's enough to carry 4 people at least, maybe
It
5,
is.
depending on how the seating arrangement is set up.
Sometimes when they travel to train classes, they carpool, but other than that, the back seat is used for equipment storage.
Are you gonna do state bid?
We're gonna bid it out just like we normally do.
Yeah, no, we'll do state bid. Absolutely. I'll explain it to you, Doug. Counselor, do you have anything? Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I think we have a motion on the table, Wayne, do we? No?
So moved.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Any further? Okay.
Well, anyhow, for what it's worth, being at the cop shop for 100 years, you know, we're talking about extra security. In the past, somebody has driven into the building on purpose, the police department building on purpose, and another time a guy walked in the front door with a gun drawn.
Okay,
So
all right.
we've had that kind of stuff here.
Okay.
Vote, debate is not.
Okay, I'm not debating, just
Okay. All right. Wayne?
Okay, this is on the motion to approve the budget.
Correct.
Councilmember Lloyd,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
yes.
Wilms,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
carried, 5-0.
Thank you, and my thanks to the members of council who, all of you who participated in this and asked the questions. We had some really, really good meetings, and I want to thank all of you very much for attending and participating. The next resolution is to authorize the mayor and city clerk to enter into the 7th amended animal services contract for the animal sheltering services with Bella Vista Animal Shelter, Inc. There is no change from the previous year. In speaking with the team over there, they're quite content to move forward with this. And so it's time to do it before the end of the year so that we can be ready for 2020. Are there any questions at all? Yes, ma'am.
Not a question, but I'd just like to say that the folks up at our animal shelter do an amazing job, and it's a top-notch organization.
It truly is.
I'd like to also thank them for the extra efforts that they do for fundraising to help support the operation up there too. It tends to impact and reduce perhaps our obligation to.
You're quite right. Quite right. Thank you.
For that.
Anyone else?
I had a question, Peter. You know, I know some of these things are variable, how many dogs and cats say they get so much money for each one. So this year in 2019, roughly what was our total?
Oh, gosh. I can't remember.
I know we came in under budget,
Yeah,
but I don't remember what that number
I can't remember what the number is either, but we were under budget.
was under. We did not exceed the amount that was allotted
Yeah.
last year. I think we came in a good 10% under.
And one thing we're also exploring with them for next year is getting into microchipping. They've actually suggested it so that it'll decrease the amount of animals that go back to the shelter because frankly they're maxed out. And so our counselor has been looking at various pieces of legislation in our neighboring cities and in talking to Kurt and the board up at the animal shelter, they're very much in favor of this. So stay tuned for more. But thanks, John. But I'm sorry I can't remember the actual number, but I will get it for you.
Yeah, I was thinking in prior years we were maybe in the range of 70, 80,000, something like that.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, 70 to 85, I think it was last year. Actual number for John. Okay. Anyone else at all? Okay, motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Any further? Wayne?
All right. Councilmember Flynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Wilms. Lloyd,
Yes.
carried 5-0.
Thank you. The meetings and announcements, the next City Council work session will be January 21st, 2020 at 5:30 here in the Court Building, and the next regular meeting of the City Council will be Monday, January 27th at 6:30, again in the Court. The Planning Commission work session will be Thursday, January the 2nd at 4:30 here in the Court Building, and the Planning Commission regular meeting will be January 13th, 2020 at 6:30 in the Court. Board of Zoning Adjustment will be January 23rd at 5:30 in the Court Building, and the Board of Construction Appeals will be January the 14th, 2020 in the Bella Vista District Court Building. On behalf of all members of council, we wish you and your loved ones a very happy, safe holiday, and to be a little hackneyed, we'll see you next year. Thank you.